Hey, what's up Yoon-Fam? It is I,
Markin.
and today I'm bringing another hopefully exciting video. So what I got for you today is a little bit of a touchy subject topic that I wanted to expand upon. Usually we go into these once in a while when I feel like I need to address something that I see within the community, and not so much my community or any other one in particular, just overall, especially across different mediums such as like Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. But what I noticed this last round with Season Pass, the 13, the DLC 13, with that blurry image, there was a lot of vitriol, I want to say. There are people that are in the camp that it's 100% Hwang Sung-kyung, and people in the camp that it's 100% Algol, and then they had their reasons why or for or against either one. That in and of itself is fine. Like all that healthy debate and stuff like that is great. What I also have seen people doing, though, is if I've seen somebody make a video, let's say, on why it should be Algol or why it should be Hwang, like playing both sides of the coin, people aren't going to watch both of those videos most of the time. They're going to fall into whatever side that they're already biased on and watch that video in particular. And of course, like, since it's an echo chamber, they're going to reciprocate back to you the same opinions that you actually put forth. I'm somebody who likes to thrive in healthy discord, which means that if there's people that disagree with me, I'd rather talk about the reasons why and see if there's something I need to change on my end or something they would like to change on their end, as opposed to just like shutting the other out completely from the topic of conversation. So when we have people being vitriolic about why it should be either or character, and I'm not going to speak to either or. People have their ideas and their ideals oftentimes linked or tied to their identity, which to me is kind of weird because I've never really tied any one idea or aspect of an idea to my identity, so I've never gotten like offended by somebody arguing an idea for or against. Like, I want Hwang to be in the game, and I think it is him, but if somebody thinks that's Algol, I'm not gonna, like, you know, get mad at them for their opinion, because they probably have good reasons for it, and I'm sure that, like, it's not like I'm looking at just one side of the coin either. They do have merit to their argumentation, and whatever happens, happens at the end of the day, right? Because we're all just interpreting the data the way that we see it. But I've seen communities like torn apart almost from this, like people getting mad at each other and arguing, especially in like comment sections and stuff like that, about why it's this character or why it's that character. And that's all well and good, but then it gets to the point where I've seen people unsubscribe from people because they don't agree with their opinion, or unfriend somebody because like their opinion doesn't match theirs. And this falls into an age-old category that we've seen forever called "Don't Shoot the Messenger." There's a lot of people that report on this kind of stuff, and whether you, let's be real, most of the time people follow a person on YouTube, it's for three reasons. It's either they like their content, they like their character or their personality, or they think that they have impertinent information that they can use or that they can offer, right? So whatever category that YouTuber falls into, or whatever presenter or whatever medium, you can talk it, whether it's Twitter or whatever. As long as your ideals align with theirs, then you're usually safe from harm, right? And how this usually benefits you is actually not a benefit, because it will, the people that don't agree with you will unsubscribe and stop following you, and then the people that agree with you will stay, and this creates an echo chamber where everybody's saying the same thing to each other and nobody learns or grows. I've seen other places where this is done more properly, like Discord, for example. Like, I know in my Discord and a couple other Discords that I'm a part of, if people disagree with each other, they kind of just like hash it out and talk it out. But it's usually in comment sections of videos or whatever. I see people get really like angry, or they just like don't like the news in general, so they apply that news as an attack against their own ideals, which is an attack on their identity, and they usually attack back against the person that is espousing those ideals, whether they believe in them or not. So this could come in the form of a dislike, this could come in the form of an unsub, an angry comment. At the end of the day, whether you think that you have more pertinent information than the person who is presenting their information, it's always better to come to a middle ground on what you agree on and work outwards from there. So if you both agree that you don't know, right, who it's going to be, it could be Hwang, it could be Algol, for example. Then you can both, if you already admit to each other that you don't know for sure, then you could just give the reasons why you do think or you do believe or something like that. But there's a lot of strong language that gets tossed around, just casually, like things like I know or I'm sure or I'm positive, things of that nature. And we talked about this when we did my video on tempering expectations lately, but using that kind of conclusive and solidified language really creates barriers for any kind of outside information to actually get in to be amalgamated, like part of your own ideals and then reciprocated. So you can't actually learn anything or grow from using that kind of language, because what ends up happening is if you assert a positive opinion, positive not being good or bad, positive in this case being an assertion of like, yes, like it definitely is the case, then you're automatically shielding yourself and on guard whenever you start a conversation. So for example, using this topic for DLC 13, if I go watch a video and somebody says that they think that Algol is the character because of these reasons, if I go into the comment section, or if I'm talking to that person in the comment section, whether it's another commenter or the video prescriber themselves, and I start just saying how they're wrong that it's Algol and these are the reasons why they're wrong, I'm automatically putting myself in a defensive position. So you need to come to a mutual agreement first and then work your way outwards from there, because it's a lot easier to have a conversation instead of two people arguing the same sides of the coin. Because anybody that does debate or does anything in philosophy or anything like that, they'll straight up tell you that usually when they're given their presentations, they're debating somebody else. The purpose of the debate is not actually to change the mind of the person on the other side. The purpose of the debate is actually to change the minds of open-minded people that are watching the debate. Because chances are, if you're arguing for or against a certain position, you're going to hold to that whether there's evidence for or against it themselves. This is true for everything. This is true for politics. This is true for every other kind of stance that you can take. There's no, usually there's no right or wrong. When it comes to any case, there's usually a neutral position and then there's a positive or a negative. And usually the neutral position is the best part to start from, because everybody can meet in the middle. And that way it stops people from infighting and it stops people from disseminating communities and things of that nature. So what am I really saying? I think people can hold whatever opinions they want, and I think they have the right to talk about them freely and espouse them however they want, and you can disagree with people and argue with people to your heart's content. But you got to look at yourself and say, what is the purpose of this comment? What is the purpose of this argument? What is my goal that I want to get out of this? And if your goal is just to tell somebody why they're wrong, you're probably not going to get a response, or if any, you're going to get a negative response, which will correlate to another negative response on your end, which like just digresses into an argument. You're not going to get your goals. So if your goal is you want this person to believe your opinion, the best thing to do is usually talk to them about what they think is right about their opinion. So if I'm arguing for Algol and somebody says that they think it's Hwang, and they say, well, look, this looks like a cape or whatever in the blurry image, I can say, sure, yeah, it does look like a cape. I mean, it could also be a scarf, but I can definitely see where you're coming from. Because if you start with a point of agreement, then their guard's automatically going to put down, and they're going to be more open to your opinion and the conversation as a whole. This is also how we make friends with people. If you have anybody that you know that has an opposite opinion of you, you can't just, like, espouse your opinion and expect people to religiously believe that as fact. You have to convince other people through coercion and through the facts. And usually facts themselves that are presented to other people aren't effective enough while on their own, because there's always counter evidence and things on the opposite end that maybe you haven't looked at, and then you're both just going to stick back to your own laurels. We see this with politics all the time when somebody says that, like, oh, CNN's 100% right, or somebody says, well, Fox is 100% right. Well, the chances are they're both probably wrong and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. This is why you see a lot of people not even engaging in political discourse, which I'm one of those people usually, but it leaks onto everything. So even in this case with people trying to discern the image of DLC 13, or even its landing point, like when it's going to release, all this stuff. What's going to be in Season 3? Is there going to be a Season 3? What about Soul Calibur 7? Are there going to be any new modes in the game? Any single argument that you take, just remember to start from a neutral position. If you always admit to the other person, listen, you could be right, I don't know, but here's what I think, you're usually going to get a much better conversation out of that, and maybe both of you learn something, as opposed to just vitriolically screaming at a wall. And this also goes to content creators, and this also goes out to people that follow certain content creators. Don't just get your information from one source. Like, if you only watch me for Soul Calibur news, don't only watch me. I would implore you to watch other Soul Calibur YouTubers, so that way you can compare and contrast the information, and you can come up with like whatever kind of information that you want to discern from that, as opposed to just like vehemently disagreeing or believing somebody. Yes, it is true, there are people that I have blocked, and there are people that I don't like to watch on YouTube that are in the same kind of medium. And that usually has to do more of a personality affect. It hasn't really anything else to do with like the way the news is presented. And you guys know me, I try to come at it with an unbiased opinion so that you can make your own decisions about it. And of course I have my own opinions that I talk about in the comment sections. But as far as the videos are presented, I usually try to stick to the evidence. And if I am saying that my opinion is that, I will admit that it is just that, an opinion. But with that being said, guys, I hope you learned something from this video. If so, please leave me a comment and tell me, do you find this information useful? Is there a way that you particularly try to convince somebody of an argument, or do you just usually disavow it and get rid of it altogether? Any and all thoughts are always welcome in the comment section down below. I want to thank you guys for watching and listening and participating in the channel. Remember, my Discord links are in my channel description box, so you can come over there and extend the conversation, or just keep it to the comment section. And as always, guys, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.